Hi everyone. This is a little sample final paper that I've written as a model for this Forests and Global Sustainability course. And you're not required to read through the paper if you don't want to. You can if you're interested. The purpose of the model here is just so that you know the basic form that your final paper should take and what's important to me in terms of how you write this final paper. Okay, and remember that in addition to me and in addition to this model that I'm putting up, another great resource that you have available to you as you work is the University Writing Center. You can always make appointments with their peer tutors who will help you with any stage of this paper that you need help on. And I've definitely heard good things from students in the past who have worked with the University Writing Center for some extra help on this project. So the topic of my model paper is Conservation of Monarch Butterfly Populations, an International Challenge. So I'm going to start by simply reading the introductory paragraph. Don't worry, I'm not going to read the whole paper out loud, but I do want to read the introduction. Every year, monarch butterflies complete an amazing migration. As temperatures warm in spring, they fly from overwintering sites in Mexico and California towards the northern US and Canada, and then as cooler weather approaches, head south again. But monarch populations have declined severely in recent years, and scientists and citizens alike are working to understand how best to enhance their survival all along the migratory route. In the United States, many people are restoring common milkweed, which is the primary warm weather host plant for the butterflies. Yet we give much less attention to the Oyamel forests in central Mexico, where monarchs overwinter, even though protecting these forests is just as important for the monarch's survival. This paper will describe how monarchs overwinter in the fir trees, examine current threats to the forests, and assess ongoing conservation strategies. Okay, so your introductory paragraph is really important because it sets the reader up for everything that's going to come afterwards. So you want some sentences that catch your reader's attention, you want to make the topic seem interesting, and you also just want to give a little roadmap of where the paper is headed. Now note that I don't have any parenthetical citations in my introductory paragraph. I'm not citing any of my sources yet. And that's because everything that I'm saying here is either my own ideas or it's stuff that's such common knowledge that I don't need to cite a source. And you don't want to be getting into the very specific facts and details of your paper in the introduction. You save those for the body of the paper. Okay, now as I get into the second paragraph, and I'm not going to read this one out loud, but I'm getting into some factual details about the monarch's migration. Notice that in my first paragraph, I've got one parenthetical citation, so here it is. And what you do in the parenthetical citation is you need to indicate the author of the source that you're paraphrasing or quoting, or if there's not a specific author's name, then you can list, for example, an institution under whose name the source is published. So I got the information in this paragraph from the University of Minnesota Monarch Lab. They have a website, so I'm citing that website in my parenthetical citation. And the reason I'm not listing a page number is because websites often don't have page numbers, so you don't need to put one. Okay, let's move on now to my next paragraph. And again, I'm just showing you here how to do the parenthetical citations. I'm not going to read the whole paper out loud. So here's another source where the name of an institution counts as the author. So this source comes from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm citing that as my source here. And here in my second parenthetical citation, I have the words new study, and that's in quotation marks. And I'm just quoting the first two words of the title of an article because in this case I'm not listing an author, I'm just listing that source according to the title of the article. Now say that I wanted to know, okay, like what's this new study? Like what is that source exactly? Well, what I can do is I can scroll right down to my bibliography and I'm looking for new study, new study, new study. Okay, so here's my bibliography, works cited, that comes at the end. I go to the letter N, and here is new study. Okay, so this is the source that was cited in that parenthetical citation, and here you have the website that I'm citing, you have the date of publication, and you have the address of the website. Okay, so now let's come back up here. We were at the second paragraph. Oops, which was the second one? Here we go. Okay, so notice that in my first paragraph then, I only had one parenthetical citation, and in the second paragraph, I've got two. Exactly how many citations you need in each paragraph depends on the discipline that you're writing for. It depends on your teacher. It depends on the class. Some teachers want more parenthetical citations than others. For my class, usually 1 or 2 citations in each paragraph should be enough. You know, basically, you want to put in enough parenthetical citations that if your reader needed to know where the information came from, that your reader can figure it out. And sometimes you might wait and put your parenthetical citation at the very end of the paragraph, like that's one possibility. But here I've decided to put them at the end of individual sentences, at the end of a sentence here, at the end of a sentence here. And that's partly because I'm citing very specific numbers, and I really want you to know like exactly which articles those numbers came from. Okay, so in the next paragraph, here's a citation that's in a little bit of a different, it looks a little bit different from the others that we've seen so far. And here we have a proper author's last name. So here's the last name of the author, and I'm giving a page number because this is an article that actually has page numbers. And again, here's another paragraph where I'm putting, I'm actually putting 3 parenthetical citations in this paragraph. Here's another one where I'm putting the first 2 words of the title in quotation marks, and oops, then come further down. And this is the same article that I had cited just above, the last name of the article, the last name of the author and the page number. So I'm not going to go through all of the different forms of citation. Just be sure that you understand for first year seminar, I'm not looking for perfection. So if you get a little bit confused over should you cite an individual author's name, should you put the name of an organization, do you need the page number, do you not? You know, if you're confused, work on it for 5 minutes. And if you can't figure it out, just do the best that you can and move on. Like, don't lose sleep over the fine details. That's not what first year seminar is for. You should have an English class that helps you to kind of fine tune the format here. What I'm looking for is simply that you understand that those citations need to be in there. So don't submit a paper draft without these citations. Have some sort of parenthetical citations in each paragraph except the introduction and the conclusion, so that you're giving credit to the authors or the institutions that publish this information. And if you didn't include that, you could be in danger of plagiarism, which is a serious offense. Plagiarism, of course, means stealing someone else's ideas without giving them credit. So the whole point of all of this is simply to avoid plagiarism. Okay, so my paper goes on for a while longer. And then at the very end, I come to the conclusion. And again, really try to write a strong concluding paragraph. It makes your paper so much more persuasive. And like with the introduction, you're probably not going to have parenthetical citations in your conclusion because your conclusion is really what you're saying. It's your own conclusion. So at this point, you've moved beyond your sources. You've cited your sources before. You've given lots of information in the body of the paper. But here you're just summing up what you want to argue and what you want to remain in your reader's mind at the very end. Okay, so I'll leave you to read that on your own if you want to. And then after the concluding paragraph, you have your bibliography. So you can write works cited at the top of your bibliography. And then just remember to put the entries in alphabetical order. This is something that students often forget, but especially once later on in your college time, once you're writing longer papers with longer bibliographies, if you don't put the entries in alphabetical order, it gets really hard to find them. So it's just a good habit to get into to alphabetize everything. Okay, and this sample paper ended up at the body. The paper itself was 5 pages long and then a 2-page bibliography. This semester, you only need to write 3 pages. You can get an A if you write 3 good pages. If you want to write more than 3 pages, honestly, you can make it, as long as you want. I'm happy to read more, but 3 pages is definitely sufficient. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful to you. And, again, I think this could be one of the tougher parts of the class to do fully online because, we can't really talk about your work face-to-face. So don't hesitate to email me with questions. I'm always happy to hear about how things are going for you and to give you individual help. And, also do draw on the University Writing Center if you think that that'll be a helpful resource for you. Okay, talk to you later, and I hope everything is going well. Bye-bye.